Well, here we are. So our first video on the channel, figuring out how to do it. I thought I had it all downplayed, but uh, I guess I did not. So if you're watching this, thanks very much. My name's Lucas Burton. I've been a mental health and addictions therapist for 21 years. I've been working with individuals, and recently just shifted over to personal development and coaching and those types of things. I just needed to change. So the idea behind the channel was to sort of put out there things that I've used to work with people over the years, things I've used on myself and worked through my own issues just like everyone else does. So trying to figure out, you know, when you decide to either work on yourself or work with a coach or a therapist, like where do you start? Right? And it seems like an arbitrary question, right? But I remember for years people would come in to my office and they'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I need to work on. So and so told me to come. Uh, or my partner told me to come, or I knew there's something wrong with me. I just can't seem to focus anymore. And so settling down and trying to figure out what is it that you want, right? It's great to say you want to work on yourself or make changes in your life, but what is it that you want? Not what other people want, but what you want. And that can be a challenge if you've been over focused in your life, always trying to make things better for other people, uh, always focusing on other people, or always trying to make them happy. And then when the opportunity comes, and it's usually when we, as they say, have a tower moment, everything around you just starts falling apart. And, friends and family be like, you just need to work on yourself. Well, how do you do that, right? Like, what does that mean? It's great to say it, but what does it actually mean to work on yourself? And, what if we changed working on ourselves to actually becoming the person you're meant to become? Because working on yourselves implies that there's something really wrong with you. You're messed up in a huge way. And oftentimes we're not. We just haven't embraced who we are. And we're so busy on trying to make other people happy or trying to win people over, you know, especially if you're one of those, just being Mr. Nice Guy and you realize the Mr. Nice Guy thing doesn't work, or nice woman, you know, trying to be that nice lady is always doing everything for everybody. And then you realize that crap don't work, right? It's not helpful at all. So figuring out where you start to figure out who you are, right? One of the things that I would encourage you to do, if you're interested, of course, is like, if you're a paper and pen type of person, you can make a little quadrant, right? You start with, in one corner, kind of your current situation, what it is you're struggling with, right? Where you want to go and how you see that actually happening, what you've tried. And when I've worked with people over the years, they'll say, well, Luke, I've tried everything. And you start asking them, so what have you done? Well, I tried meditating. Okay, so how long did you do that for? Well, I tried it once or twice. Well, okay. So that's a good start, but how much time have you put into that, right? I'm just using meditation as something to throw out there, right? It could be anything. It could be maybe you're trying to quit drinking or stop using or something like that. And figuring out, like, what have you actually done to try to make that happen? Like, have you gone to different situations and to different people and sought out help, right? And the challenge becomes when you're trying to really figure out about yourself, you realize that it's you that's got to do the work, right? I know a lot of times people come and see me and they'd be like, well, no, you're supposed to fix me. Okay, so you're not an old car. We don't just take out the bad oil and put in new stuff and off you go, right? And most therapists and coaches are facilitators, right? Or like almost like a mirror. Like, they talk about things that need to come about or may help bring things about for you. but it's not up to them to do the work. And that can be a real slap in the face when I use that arbitrarily, right? But it can be a real shaker when you realize that it's you that has to do the work. And when you do the work, that's when the changes happen. So you've got to figure that stuff out, right? Like, you realize that it's going to be you. You've got to put in the time and the effort. And working on yourself is not easy. Like, don't kid yourself, right? It may be easy for some, I guess, right? I shouldn't say it like that. But it requires, effort and work and, being okay with failing and picking yourself back up and doing the work. You got to put the time in. And it can be hard, right, to realize that you've got to a certain point in your life, especially if you're older in your life, right, and you realize, I've wasted a lot of time trying to make other people happy, and I don't know how to do this for myself. And that's okay. And that's where, a pastor or whatever, a counselor, a therapist, whatever it is, a coach, whatever it is you want to use to try to facilitate and help you with that change, right? But you have to put the effort in. And that's the best place to start, is realizing that you have to put the effort in. You wouldn't go to a gym and think, okay, I've worked out once and I'm in phenomenal shape. An example I would use, there's a guy at our CrossFit gym, and someone said they were learning how to do it. They said, I want to look like him. What's the shortcut to looking like him? And the coach, without missing a beat, said, well, that's 8 years of CrossFit. And so it sort of really puts it there, right? It's all about progression, right? And it's up to you how fast that progression is. And there'll be ups and downs and hills and valleys. But the more you stick with it, the more change is going to happen. And it might be slow, and you might not even see the changes. But that's all right. So anyways, that's where I wanted to start, figuring out what you want to do. Right? You may have a list of things that, like the glaring things that need to be changed, whatever they may be, need to be worked on. But figuring out where you want to start for you and how you're going to do that, right? And try that quadrant thing I mentioned before, right? So figuring out sort of where you're at, where you want to go, where you've been, and how you're going to get there. All right? Hopefully it was helpful. It seems weird to say like and subscribe, but I guess that's what you're supposed to do. And shoot me an email. It should be attached to the video. Once again, like I said before, I'm figuring out how to do this, so the videos may be crappy, but that's okay. I'm learning as I go. And thanks for the time. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Take care now, and we will see you again. Bye.